what is the difference between Al-Adab Al-Mufrad and also the other books authored by Imam Al-Bukhari rahimahullah. And so just a quick recap is that Al-Adab Al-Mufrad, which Imam Al-Bukhari authored, consists of 1,000, approximately more than 1,300 ahadith, and these ahadith Imam Al-Bukhari compiled, which were separate or different to those that he compiled in his Sahih al-Bukhari. And the purpose of Al-Adab al-Mufrad was to compile certain ahadith which may not have the same strict conditions of Sahih al-Bukhari, but are still authentic or still of a good degree, and through that a person can work on their character and become a better Muslim. So in Al-Adab al-Mufrad, Imam Bukhari rahimahullah, in his book Al-Adab al-Mufrad, which is the prophetic character building book, in there he has brought together and gathered various chapters, approximately more than 600 chapters in this book. What are the key themes that Imam Bukhari has tried to address, or the key themes that Imam Bukhari has tried to bring about in portraying the prophetic character building from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So the subject areas and topics of Al-Adab al-Mufrad can be maybe summarized under 5 areas. So first of all, Imam Bukhari will bring those ahadith or those chapters relating to those sayings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, those teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which pertain to adabul fard, which pertain to personal etiquettes. So for example, the manners of talking, being a pleasant and cheerful person, the manners of laughing, sneezing, yawning, etc. Maybe chapters relating to the types of speech, how to talk, when to talk, what to say, what not to say, what is prohibited in saying, and other such things which relate to personal etiquettes. As a human, normal characteristics that a human has, how can we refine and beautify those characteristics in light of the teachings and the guidance of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So those are the chapters that relate to the personal etiquettes. Thereafter, there will be chapters which may be adab usriya. Now, usra means family, so family related etiquette. So for example, Imam Bukhari actually starts his book being dutiful to parents, the importance of being dutiful to parents and the rights of parents. So a hadith relating to your relationship with your parents and your children and your family members. Thereafter, also Imam Bukhari in these types of chapters will discuss the importance of maintaining and establishing family ties and relations in Islam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave immense emphasis on maintaining and establishing and reinforcing family ties and family relations. It's known as Silatul Rahim, which inshallah in a few weeks we will go over those beautiful ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also in these types of chapters, Imam Bukhari would have brought those ahadith which relate to the upbringing and nurturing of children and families. So how did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam deal with children? Is there any teachings that he gave in bringing children up, in nurturing children? So in terms of the tarbiyah of the child, those also teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also fall under the prophetic character building that Imam Bukhari has brought together in this book Al-Adab al-Mufrad. Thereafter, the third subject area or the third theme which Imam Bukhari brings those chapters in this Al-Adab al-Mufrad is Abwab Ijtima'iyya, those chapters which relate to etiquettes which are of a communal or societal theme. So etiquettes of society, etiquettes of a community, so that will include the emphasis given in Islam about neighbors, the rights of neighbors, also the etiquettes of friendships, who to keep as a friend, how to have a friend, what to look for in a friend, how do you know whether to keep this person as a friend, who to befriend, those type of etiquettes and manners also. Then the etiquettes of meetings, of consultations, of mashwara, of these type of communal events where a person will sit together with other people and discuss things. So for that also there are characteristics, there are etiquettes, there are manners which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught and acted upon, and also gave to his Sahaba, which they also visualized, they observed, and they also adopted in their ways of lives. Also certain chapters which will relate to the honoring and hosting of guests, which was a very, very beautiful trait of the Sahaba ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajma'in. And this has passed through even now within Arab culture. There is the concept of honoring and hosting guests, ikramud duyuf, a very, very important sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which then was also adopted by the Sahaba and is part of the Arab tradition. Thereafter, there will be chapters relating to encouraging salam, spreading peace. Whoever you meet, wherever you go, spreading salam wherever we go, and also prohibiting arguments or cutting off of family ties, stopping talking to people, the prohibition regarding that, or the hadith relating to that, and also the manners which relate to seeking permission. So in certain situations and certain scenarios, it is important, and it is from the prophetic character that you seek permission in those instances and scenarios. Thereafter, there will also be manners of being in a gathering, how to be in a gathering when you're around people. So these are all types of etiquettes that relate to society, to community, to being in when you're in a gathering, when you're in groups of people, when you're amongst other people. How is your character supposed to be? How did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teach us to be in those situations? And the fourth type of chapters, which will be discussed by Imam al-Bukhari in his Al-Adab al-Mufrad, relates to the etiquettes in refining and improving good character. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant me, you, and all of us the great good character which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had and taught. May we have the ability to also adopt this. So this will relate to building and inculcating aspects and traits such as nobility, generosity, forbearance, patience, these type of amazing characteristics which are found in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he taught to the Sahaba, he nurtured within the Sahaba, and this was found in all the pious till today. And lastly, there will be chapters which relate to adhkar and da'wat, which relate to du'as and dhikr, and also what should be said in various scenarios and situations. What should a person utter when faced in a certain scenario or situation? These are 5 key areas that we can maybe condense and fit the chapters of Al-Adab al-Mufrad into under these chapters, under these subject areas and topics within the Al-Adab al-Mufrad. There are also various other topics and themes that are discussed, but the first and foremost chapter that Imam Bukhari has brought in Al-Adab al-Mufrad is to do with being dutiful to your parents. And why did Imam Bukhari start this book of manners with parents, and then thereafter with family members, and thereafter with other Muslims that live within a person's home, the inhabitants of one's home? Is because a person outside of their home can display, maybe put on a show and display impeccable character. They can show that they are of a splendid character. But when they are in the home, how is their character then? And the first rank or right given in Islam within a person's home and family is how a person is with their parents. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me, you, and all of us the ability to refine our character when dealing with our parents, and may establish and maintain a very special relationship with our parents where we are dutiful to our parents. We are able to uphold their rights, and our parents therefore in return will also fulfill our rights. And through this we will have a union and a understanding between parent and child that is exemplified by the great Sahaba ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajma'in, as taught by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So before we actually begin the first hadith, for those who haven't heard or studied or read or heard any hadith from me before, I will relate to you the hadith al-musalsal bil-awwaliyah, which was the practice of every teacher of hadith or every reading of hadith that would take place. The first hadith that is read normally is known as the hadith al-rahmah, or is known as the hadith al-musalsal bil-awwaliyah. And this is because there's a very special connotation and a chain that goes back all the way to the great Sufyan ibn Uyayna. And from myself, that we heard this hadith first from our Shaykh Hazrat Maulana Yusuf Mutala rahimahullah, also from the great Muhaddith Sheikh Muhammad Yunus Jaunfuri rahimahullah, from the likes of Mufti Taqi Uthmani, Mufti Rafi Uthmani, from Sheikh Saif al-Rahman, who was the Sheikh al-Hadith of Makkah al-Mukarramah, and now is the Sheikh al-Hadith of Jamia Sharafiyah Lahore, and all of our teachers and all those that we are blessed with receiving authorization and ijazah in, all of these first narrated to us, or we read to them, the Hadith al-Rahma al-Musalsal bil-Awwaliyah, and they similarly from their teachers and their mashayikh and their shuyukh, and this chain goes all the way that this was the first hadith they heard or the first hadith they read, and it goes back to Imam Sufyan ibn Uyayna and Amr ibn Dinar عن أبي قابوس عن عبد الله بن عمرو بن عاص رضي الله تعالى عنهما قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الراحمون يرحمهم الرحمن تبارك وتعالى ارحموا من في الأرض يرحمكم من في السماء وفي رواية ارحموا ترحموا رواه أبو داود والترمذي ورواه البخاري في الكنى وغيرهم رضوان الله تعالى عليهم أجمعين. And this hadith is of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, who says that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Ar-Rahimun yarhamuhum ar-Rahman tabaraka wa ta'ala. Those who are merciful, Rahman tabaraka wa ta'ala will show mercy to them. Irhamu man fil ard, show mercy on whatever treads the earth. Yarhamkum man fis sama, in turn, those in the heavens will shower mercy upon you, whether that's relating to the angels making dua for mercy, whether that's relating to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rahman tabaraka wa ta'ala himself showering us with his mercy. If we show mercy to others, irhamu turhamu, show mercy, you will be shown mercy. So through the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent as rahmatan lil alamin, as a mercy for the entire cosmos and the entire creation, the entire universe. So just like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent as a mercy, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make me, you, and every single one of us personifications of that very divine prophetic mercy of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first chapter, Bab Qawlillahi ta'ala wa wassayna al-insan biwalidayhi husna, the chapter relating to the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wherein he says, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حُسْنًا, we have enjoined mankind to be dutiful and kind or good with their parents. عن عبد الله رضي الله تعالى عنه قال سألت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أي العمل أحب إلى الله عز وجل قال الصلاة على وقتها قلت ثم أي قال ثم بر الوالدين قلت ثم أي قال ثم الجهاد في سبيل الله قال حدثني بهن ولو استزدته لزادني. Abdullah radiallahu ta'ala anhu says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, I asked him, which action is the most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, as-salatu ala waqtiha. The action which is most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is salah at its prescribed time. When the time for salah comes, salah is performed at its prescribed time, not before it, because salah won't count. Whether safar or hadar, your salah won't count if it's done before the prescribed time. And if after the prescribed time, then it is qada. So it has been delayed. It has been read after its prescribed time. So the most beloved thing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to perform our salah at its prescribed time. So from the beginning time to the end time, we have two times that we've been given, a beginning time and an end time. Whatever's in between, that's the time that is prescribed for us in that time. It's not necessary to pray at the beginning time, but any time from the beginning time, as long as you haven't delayed it so much that it's very close to its reaching the end time, it is makruh to read it right at the end time, but that time is the prescribed time, and this is the time that we're supposed to pray our salah. May Allah give me first and all of us the ability to perform our salah at its prescribed time, so that through this salah we too can become beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قلت ثم أي, then I asked, okay, so that is the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So first thing, the right of Allah. What is the first right of Allah? That salah is performed at its prescribed time. That's the creator and the creation. Now the creation with the creation, ayyul a'mali ahabbu ila Allah, what is the most beloved thing to Allah? Whose right, we could say, comes first? ثم بر الوالدين. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, thereafter, being dutiful to our parents. And then after striving in the path of Allah, and then he said, حَدَّثَنِي بِهِنَّ وَلَوْ إِسْتَزَدْتُهُ لَزَادَنِي. If he narrated these to me, and if I asked him, ثُمَّ أَيْ, then which, he would have keep on giving me answers. He would have listed to me a whole list of those things in order of those things which are most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But number one is between the creation and the creator. The right of the creator is that as-salatu ala waqtiha. Then creation to creation, birrul walidain, being dutiful to our parents. باب جزاء الوالدين. عن عبد الله بن عمرو رضي الله تعالى عنهما قال جاء رجل إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يبايعه على الهجرة وترك أبويه يبكيان فقال ارجع إليهما واضحكهما كما أبكيتهما. Abdullah ibn Amr bin As radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, he says that a man came to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam to pledge his allegiance on his hands, that I am pledging an allegiance that I am now also going to migrate. This at that time was a very important duty for Muslims to escape the persecution they were under in Mecca and move over to a Darul Islam, to a place where Islam can be freely practiced and where they can live peacefully as Muslims. And so they were migrating to Madinatul Munawwara, and this was a very important part of the history of the first generation of Muslims. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has a person who's come to him and he says, I pledge my allegiance, I am going to move away from Makkah, I am going to leave and I am going to make this hijrah. But وَتَرَكَ أَبَوَيْهِ يَبْكِيَانِ, in the process he left his parents crying, weeping. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, ارجع إليهما, return to both of them. وَأَضْحِكْهُمَا كَمَا أَبْكَيْتَهُمَا, make them happy, make them smile, make them laugh, make them bashful, just the way you made them cry. Now go and make them smile, go make them happy. You shouldn't live in a state where they are unhappy, where they are sad, they are crying. First make them happy and then go. So there's a couple of things we learn over here. Number one, for this companion, it wasn't important for him to leave straight away, that if he didn't leave, something would have happened. He was living under the care of his parents, and his parents weren't persecuting him. There were other Sahaba which were persecuted by their parents because of them adopting Islam. But he wasn't in a situation where his parents were persecuting him. Rather, he was living under the care of his parents, and it wasn't necessary for him to leave at that specific moment. And even if he was to go, he didn't have to upset or break the hearts of the parents and make them cry. Hence Rasulullah said, okay, you need to go, you're going to go, but not yet. First go back and make them happy, make them smile, make them bashful, make them laugh, just like you made them cry. Because even though your parents may not be in the fold of Islam, you still have to be kind and dutiful to your parents. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِنْدَكَ الْكِبَرَ أَحَدُهُمَا أَوْ كِلَاهُمَا فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْحَرْهُمَا وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. So, even if a person's parents aren't Muslims, they still have to be dutiful and kind and respectful and uphold their rights. So even in this critical juncture in Islamic history, Rasulullah SAW said, no, first go make them happy and then you can go. باب عقوق الوالدين. وبه قال حدثنا إمام البخاري وعن عبد الرحمن بن أبي بكرة عن أبيه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ألا أنبئكم بأكبر الكبائر ثلاثا قالوا بلى يا رسول الله قال الإشراك بالله وعقوق الوالدين وجلس وكان متكئا ألا وقول الزور وما زال يكرره حتى قلت ليته سكت. Abdul Rahman ibn Abi Bakr says, he narrates from his father who says that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, shall I not tell you of the greatest of the major sins? He said it 3 times. Shall I not tell you of the greatest of the major sins? Shall I not inform you of what is the greatest of the kaba'ir, the worst sins that a person can do? Sahaba said, of course, O Messenger of Allah, do tell us. Number 1, al-ishraku billah, associating partners to Allah Almighty. any deity, giving divinity to anyone other than Allah, giving the attributes or the ascension or the traits that are exclusive to Allah, which are godly features, which are only for God Almighty, for Allah Almighty, and giving that to anybody else or associating anybody else as partners in that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shirk, the greatest sin anyone can ever commit. And thereafter, uququl walidain, disobeying or being undutiful or being disrespectful or disregarding the rights of the parents. So after saying these two, which are obviously, like the first hadith, the first one is to do with Allah, and the second one is to do with the parents, who come first in the creation. Thereafter, as Rasulullah ﷺ was saying this, he was sat while it's leaning. And then he suddenly got up, he changed his posture, he leaned forward, and he said, Ala wa qawlu zur. And he kept on saying, Ala wa qawlu zur, Ala wa qawlu zur, Ala wa qawlu zur. He didn't stop saying it until the Sahabi says, the companion says, that I was so scared, I was so struck by this saying of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that all of a sudden I felt that I wished that Rasulullah sallallahu would stop at that and not say it anymore. Now what is this? What is Rasulullah sallallahu saying? Ala wa qawlu zur, beware of the false testimony or the false utterance by lying. Rasulullah put great emphasis on lying. The other two sins, which are the greatest sin the person can commit, shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being disrespectful and undutiful to your parents. And thereafter, even though these are so great, Rasulullah remained sitting. Why? Because a person can understand and maybe try and stay away from these two things. A person who once understood the concept of Islam will not want to do shirk. A person who's understood the concept of being a good Muslim will not want to be a person that is undutiful to their parents. But so easily do we lie. How easily, slip of a tongue, a person who could be a very strong believer, a person could be very dutiful to their parents and could have amazing character, but very easily they will lie. And this is also such a great sin, so that it doesn't slip away, so that it is made aware and it is emphasized in the minds of the Sahaba. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sat up and he repeated and he repeated it and he repeated it. Allah wa qawlu zur, beware, listen, beware of what? Of qawlu zur, of uttering a statement of falsehood. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to be truthful always in our tongue. That's why one of the hadith we learned this year with my madrasa students, small 6, 7, 8-year-olds, mashallah, but a beautiful hadith. قُلِ الْحَقِّ وَإِنْ كَانَ مُرًّا. Beautiful teaching of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Speak the truth even though it may be bitter. The consequence of you speaking that truth may be bitter. You having to bring yourself to speak that statement of truth may also be bitter, may also be a difficult thing to do, but always قُلِ الْحَقِّ, always speak the truth. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to always speak the truth and save us from lying, protect us from shirk, and give us the ability to be dutiful and obedient to our parents and respectful to them. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more hadith still relating to being dutiful to parents, inshallah. These 9 hadith we will cover in next week's session, so that will be a part 2 of those hadith relating to being dutiful to parents. That's it for today. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.